Hello everyone, welcome to the online certification course titled Medical Law. Myself, Dr. Chaitanya Mittal, currently working as Assistant Professor in the Department of Dr. B.C. Roy, Multi-Specialty Medical Research Center, IIT Kharagpur. Today we are on the week 2, third lecture, that is overall lecture is lecture 8 of our course named Medical Law, that is ethics in medical profession. Previously we have gone through the module 1 also, the introduction part. Now module 2 we have gone through 2 lectures already on the concern, informed consent, what are the different types of consent in the medical. Today we will be learning about the ethics in medical profession. What do we mean by ethics, or what is the importance of medical ethics in medical profession. So coming to the concepts covered in this lecture will be ethics, what are the principles or the pillars of medical ethics, the history of medical ethics, how it has come up, and what is the role in the Indian perspective. The keywords involved in our lecture are ethics, autonomy, confidentiality, professional conduct, doctor-patient relationship. Introduction. The word ethics originated from the Greek word ethike, which means habit or character. Ethics deal with the making the right choice in light of all circumstances. It discusses how to distinguish between what is acceptable and what is not in the given time. Ethics concerned with moral values and standards of conduct. In simple terms, what do we mean by ethics? Ethics is a set of beliefs and practices dealing with the distinction between right and wrong. It plays a philosophical and fundamental role in the medical field. Medical ethics is a branch of moral standards and deals with issues arising out of the practice of medicine. Medical ethics focuses on moral conduct and principles to apply towards patients, having patient-doctor-patient relationship and communication in the practice of medicine. Medical ethics is the effort to determine what healthcare professional should do in complex clinical and research situations. The fundamental principles of medical ethics are mainly the 5. First is autonomy, second beneficence, confidentiality, non-malfeasance and justice. The applications of these principles or the pillars in medical practice includes the respect for the desire of the person, that is autonomy, informed consent, protection of privacy and confidentiality, facilitation of decision making, giving maximum benefit, and first do no harm, fairness and equal distribution of healthcare resources. The fundamental objective of the medical profession is to maintain the trust reposed by individuals and enhance the overall quality of life, dignity and well-being of every individual requiring healthcare services. Medical ethics encompasses the obligations of healthcare professionals to ensure patients' overall well-being and to respect their fundamental human rights. It applies to every healthcare provider and is a dynamic concept that varies among different societies, religious groups and cultures. Implementing the basic principles of medical ethics is an essential component of patient care. So these are the main pillars or the principles of medical ethics in the form of a diagram. You must remember the autonomy, patient individuality. Second, the benefit or no harm to the patient, that is a beneficence. Third, confidentiality, maintaining the identification or the details of the case regarding the patient should be confident. Next, non-malfeasance, no harm. And last, justice or equity or giving equal rights to everyone. So, these are the main principles and the pillars of medical ethics should be followed in a medical profession. So, we will go through each principle one by one. The first being the autonomy. Every individual is capable of making rational decisions for their own life. For example, the Justice Cordozo in Schlendorf versus Society of the New York Hospital. The cited 211 NY 125105 NE 92 in year 1914 Lexus 1028 highlighted the principle of autonomy. Every human being of adult years and sound mind has a right to determine what shall be done with his own body. Autonomy needs to be weighted against competing moral principles and in some instances may be overridden. Autonomy obliges the physician to disclose medical information and possible treatment options that are necessary for the patient to exercise self-determination and supports informed consent, truth-telling and confidentiality. To provide informed consent, the patient must be competent, receive the full disclosure, understand the disclosure and act free and voluntarily. Second principle, beneficence. The principle of beneficence is the obligation of physician to act for the benefit of others, prevent harm, help the disabled and save persons in danger. The principle is different from non-malfeasance in the term that former requires positive actions. Beneficence calls for not only to avoid inflicting harm but also to benefit patients and promote their welfare. So, this is the beneficence. Third principle, confidentiality, is based on loyalty and the trust between a doctor and a patient. Medical practitioner shall maintain the privacy of the patient. Practitioners are obligated not to disclose confidential information given by patient to another party without the patient's authorization. There are some obvious exceptions to a patient confidentiality, such as sharing necessary information for the care of patient with other consultants or healthcare professional, or for a referral or to get an higher treatment or necessary appropriate treatment to a particular consultant need to be informed the necessary information given by the patient to other experts or other doctors. Wherever it is required by law to share the information. If it is the order by the court, we have to share the information of the patient. And the last, in a special contagious diseases like COVID-19 or any special exceptional cases where it may cause great harm to another or to the whole community. So, under privileged communication, it is necessary to inform. Otherwise, it is must to keep all the information given by the patient confidential, not to inform anybody others regarding it without prior permission of the patient. Another principle, the fourth one, non-malfeasance. It is the obligation of the physician not to harm the patient. Principle supports several moral rules. Do not cause unnecessary pain, do not kill, do not deprive others of a good life. Physicians shall exercise utmost caution in practice and research, protect vulnerable patients from physical, psychological or social harm, evaluate the risk to patient. So, no harm, that is a non-malfeasance. The physician should not do any harm to the patient while treating it. The last principle, the justice. It is generally interpreted as fair, equitable and appropriate treatment of persons. Distributive justice is pertinent to medical ethics. It refers to the fair and equitable distribution of healthcare resources in the society. It promotes fairness and non-discrimination in medical practice. The medical practitioner shall decide the distribution of resources in consonance with the principle. So, coming to the importance of medical ethics in a medical profession. Medical ethics is essentially a regulatory mechanism. It implies that the doctor commits publicly that though medical practice is a source of his livelihood, he will try his best for the benefit of the patient. It assists healthcare professionals in the right code of conduct. Proving training in medical ethics helps medical experts be more efficient. So, now the history, how it has evolved, the medical ethics. So, first it has come to be as Hippocratic Oath in the 5th century BC. Then there came as Nuremberg Code in 1948 during or even after the Second World War. A lot of mishaps happened. So, it is necessary to come up with the medical ethics. So, they given a Nuremberg Code in 1948 as well as the Declaration of Geneva in 1948 and Universal Declaration of Human Rights in same year 1948. Then in next year there came as International Code of Medical Ethics 1949 and the last it has came as Helsinki Declaration for the Human Experimentation in the year 1964. Like this there was an evolution of medical ethics or the history of medical ethics, how it has come up in the society. So, first Hippocratic Oath, one of the oldest document in medical ethics in the 5th century BC. It is a code of ethical principles for doctors as well as the students. In the oath, the doctor pledges to prescribe only beneficial treatment according to his abilities and judgment to reform from causing harm and hurt. Another, the Nuremberg Code in the year 1948. In 1946, the American Military Tribunal opened criminal proceedings against 23 German doctors for willing participation in war crimes and crimes against humanity. The trial documented some of the most gruesome medical experiments carried out by Nazi doctors. Among other principles laid down by the judgment, the most significant principle was voluntary informed consent. The code recognizes that doctors should avoid actions that injure human patients. Important principles laid down by this Nuremberg Code was the voluntary informed consent. It is must the participants who are willing to participate in either in the research or in any treatment, it's must to have free and voluntarily informed consent explaining the risk and the benefits of involvement in this particular profession as well as the research. Second, it to be happen prior research in an animal model, avoiding physical or psychological injury. Benefit should outweigh the risk. They should have more benefits than the risk carried in a particular research. If any mishaps happen, to be fully compensated or compensation to be given a participants and wait to withdraw the consent. Any time at any point of time there should be a provision to withdraw the consent or the participant can say voluntarily that I am withdrawing from the research at this point of time. So, another Declaration of Geneva in 1948, it was adopted in the year of 1948. It was drafted on the principles of Hippocratic Oath and is also known as the modern version of this Hippocratic Oath. It is a declaration of a doctor's dedication to the humanitarian goals of medicine. It outlines the professional duties of doctors and highlights the humanitarian character of the profession. Another International Code of Medical Ethics 1949. The code based on the Declaration of Geneva 1948. It outlines the professional duties of doctors to patient, to other doctors like the medical etiquettes and health professionals. It also provides certain practices to be unethical. Another Universal Declaration of Human Rights in the year 1948. It recognizes that no one shall be subjected to torture or to cruel, inhumane or degrading treatment among Article 1 of Universal Declaration of Human Rights. Although the declaration was not binding, it set the ground for the adoption of the International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights ICCPR. Article 7 of ICCPR states that no one shall be subjected without his free and voluntary consent to medical or scientific experimentation or any research related to it. Another Helsinki Declaration in the year 1964. It is a set of ethical principles regarding human experimentation developed by the World Medical Association. The declaration was drafted with the vision to protect and promote the health and well-being of patients who are involved in medical research. It addresses the clinical research on human subjects. Declaration also undertakes the special needs of vulnerable groups and individuals. Now coming to the Indian perspective of medical ethics. The medical ethics in India is linked to ancient healthcare systems where Ayurveda was practiced. It has texts that serve as a guiding principle for the ethics in medical science. The beginning of recorded medical practice in India can be traced to the advent of the Aryan invaders. Charak Samhita, the Indian Ayurvedic medicine treatise, instruct doctors to endeavor for the relief of patients with all the heart and soul. It also constantly reminds doctors that the primary goal was not fortune for self, but the care of the sick. Need to be taken care of any patient coming to it. In the year 1998, St. John's was the first medical college to inculcate medical ethics in its curriculum. Later, in the year 2002, the Indian Medical Council Act 1956 Professional Conduct and Ethics Regulation in the year 2002 were let down. The regulation provided duties and responsibilities that practitioner must adhere to with regard to maintaining an optimum and good medical practice and maintaining upright character. It also lays down guidelines pertaining to payment received for professional services. The chapter 1 outlines the duties and responsibilities of a physician in general. The character of physician uphold the dignity and honor of his medical profession, render service to humanity. A person with recognized qualification can only practice the modern system of medicine. The person should have the qualification to be recognized from particular university, then only the person or a medical profession can practice the medicine and treat the patient. Maintaining good medical practice, render service to humanity. Should not do any unethical practice, should do the good and ethical practice. Another, the maintenance of medical records. The doctor's duty to maintain the medical records of the patient coming to for a treatment. For example, we have to maintain the medical records of his or her patient for a period of minimum 3 years, produces record within 72 hours if requested by patient or legal authorities. If in any case, any court case or any medical legal case, if any patient or party asks for his or her medical records, it's a duty of medical profession or an institute or the hospital to provide the records immediately as soon as possible or within 72 hours, and maintain a register of medical certificates with full details of certificates issued by the doctor or medical profession during his medical practice. Display the registration number. It is mandatory of the doctor or medical professional should display the registration number either in a seal form or should be displayed in his or her prescription slip or to be displayed in his chamber. Use of generic names of the drugs. The doctor should not prescribe as a brand names, should use only the generic name of the drug to give a prescription to the patient. Highest quality assurance in patient care. The doctor should take care of the highest treatment in a benefit of the patient. Payment of professional service. Personal interest should not conflict with the medical interest of the patient. Evasion of legal restrictions. So, these all are the duties and the responsibilities. The chapter 2 lays down the duties of physician to their patients, obligation to the sick, patience, delicacy and secrecy to maintain the confidentiality. Having the patience and delicacy should characterize the physician. Secrecy should be maintained except as required by the laws or to protect the health of the individual or to protect the health of whole community or society under privileged communication can be disclosed, otherwise the secrecy should be maintained by the doctor or the treating physician. Prognosis, neither exaggerate or minimize the gravity of the condition. The doctor should counsel properly regarding the prognosis of particular disease to the patient. The patient should not get exaggerated or get an anger while hearing that you have a lower prognosis, or should not hide also. So, the doctor or the treating physician should counsel the patient properly, saying regarding the prognosis of the disease. Do not neglect the patient, should not simply neglect it. In emergency, definitely the first aid to be given, and even coming to the OPD or IPD basis, the doctor should look over the patient or can refer the patient to another expertise, saying it belongs to another expertise. Coming to the another chapters, chapter 3 and the 4, which deals with the duties of the physician in consultation and to each other among the colleagues of other professionals respectively. Unethical acts and misconduct which were described in the chapter 6, which are especially the A, advertisement, the media or the signboards or the cards or the fee display by the doctor or medical professional. Another, the association, like for example the drug companies or pharmacy giving the gifts to the doctors, laboratories commissions, colleagues cutback, employer fee splitting, dichotomy, we say dichotomy as a fee splitting. Another, alcoholism, famous example with the movie Kabir Singh. The doctor or the treating physician should not drink and look over the patient, or should not come as a drink and go over an operation. The doctor should maintain the dignity and should not come under an intoxicated state while looking over for the patient. Another, the adultery, any affairs with the doctor patient, so that should be, as an unethical practice, should be avoided. Another, the criminal abortion, the abortion conducted by self without sufficient training and qualification and helping some other who is not qualified. So, the criminal abortion as an severe unethical practice and it is a punishment, is an offence, should be avoided, should not be done. Human rights violation by inflicting mental or physical trauma or concealment of torture. Conviction by court for moral turpitude. Practicing euthanasia without the permission of the court. So, the doctor should take a permission to practice passive euthanasia, which is now practiced or allowed to be done, but with the permission. Certificate to unqualified, false, improper or misleading person or fact. Contravention of Drugs Act, prescribing or dispensing secret remedies, breach of patient confidence without any solid reason to do so, not taking proper and appropriate written consent for operation or whenever the procedure may endanger his or her life, claiming to be a specialist without recognized qualification or experience, violation of existing ICMR guidelines in the research activities. So, these are unethical acts. So, coming to the punishment and disciplinary action, if any unethical acts or the practice followed by any treating doctor or medical profession, every instance of misconduct and breach of professionalism shall be brought before the appropriate medical council for disciplinary action. So, first and foremost is the disciplinary action, the warning notice given to the treating doctor or medical profession. If it is being repeated, there comes as another warning notice or another strict warning to be a last warning, and if still repeated, there is a penal erasure or professional death sentence, the removal of the name from the medical register, and there can be a punishment on further case by case scenarios. The appropriate medical council shall hold an inquiry and give the opportunity to the registered medical practitioner to be heard in person or by a pleader. Upon being found to be guilty of committing professional misconduct, the appropriate medical council may award such punishment as deemed necessary or may direct the removal altogether for a specified period from the register of the name of the delinquent registered practitioner. The ethical dilemma. Often there are instances when medical practitioner faces situations when professional conduct is in conflict with societal obligations. Such situation must be dealt with by adhering to the principles, code of ethics, laws against the desire of patient, social context and available resources. These situations must not affect the ethical code and must be followed religiously, considering the principles and pillars of the code of ethics. So, coming to the conclusion of this lecture, that is the ethics in medical profession. The ethics is concerned with studying and building up a coherent set of rules or principles by which people ought to live. Medical ethics is a regulatory mechanism that mandates the doctor to render the service for the welfare of the patient. The doctor-patient relationship is based on mutual trust and respect among both. The medical profession is not merely an occupation, but includes a strong and inseparable moral commitment made publicly. Medical ethics become a force within and outside the medical profession, shaping its contours and the behavior of physicians. The legal, ethical and moral liabilities are rapidly spiked up in modern times. These are the references. You all can go through it for the further. The first and foremost, medical professionalism and ethics. Another article as medical ethics, few book chapters, so you can go through them. Thank you.